Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video, and we're going to be going over how can you possibly not main an Affliction Warlock when it comes to Shadowlands specifically. This is a specialization that has had a ton of utility returned to it from the past, a blast from the past, with a lot of its curses like Curse of Weakness and Curse of Tongues to inhibit your enemy's physical attacks and casting spells, mobility returning baseline with Demonic Circle, and the integration of Malefic Rapture as a soul shard spender, providing you a ton of single target and AoE damage from all of your targets that are currently dotted. I have to say, personally, I've played Affliction Warlock on and off throughout expansions, and this iteration of it I have been enjoying quite a lot, whether it be PvE or PvP. They did a solid job with it. I feel like Warlock has returned to a form where it fell off pretty heavily in Battle for Azeroth. So if you're worried about where it was currently standing right now, I feel like it's in a spot where I would expect Affliction Warlock to currently sit. In terms of its fun and enjoyment, and choosing which covenant you want to go after, as that's such a big deal, you don't really want to feel like you're making a mistake. I'm here to sell you why Fel and Furry go so well together. Here on the Covenant for the Night Fae, you are going to be gaining access to things like the Soul Shape ability, which will allow you to teleport and sprint. And as a decrepit Gul'dan fanboy, you may love this ability because being able to run really fast and blink is something that Warlock has never had. So you can experiment around with this. It is a lot of fun. You can get different transmogs and different animals as well if you want to be not just a Vulpin, and there's a lot available. You will also gain access to Soul Rot, which is a 1.4 second cast, 1 minute cooldown. You wither away all life force of your current target and up to 3 additional nearby ones, causing your primary target to suffer massive nature damage, 2,638, and secondary targets to suffer 1,319 nature damage over 8 seconds. Additionally, for the next 8 seconds, if you cast Drain Life, you will also cast Drain Life from enemies affected by your Soul Rot. So an AoE Drain Life, a massive suck down effect. This is going to be amazing. It's doing a lot of damage at the moment, and between all of the covenants in PvE, the damage differentials is very, very, very minor. So if you're picking this for PvE performance, unless you are quite literally a world first raider who is possibly having 4 warlocks anyways, or an MDI competitor, I would rather select my covenants based on what I find most enjoyable and fun. And the Vulpin as a warlock is something that's amazing. Soul Rot is also nature, so if you're interrupted, you'll be able to still cast your Shadow School, or vice versa. If you're interrupted on Shadow, you'll be able to cast Soul Rot, so that's an additional effect where Affliction Warlocks, if they were interrupted, they couldn't do anything, so you get the additional benefit of that. Not to mention the Soul Binds, which are actually, all 3 of them are super competitive and have some interesting builds. So the conduits are now another kind of confusing system, and I just wanted to simplify it, right? What are the conduits that I would go after? What are the eye candy conduits that stand out to me that I want to go after, that are going to make the game more fun and make me do more damage, right? Because that's what it all comes down to. So you've got 3 Soulbind choices. The first one you unlock is Nia. You're going to be getting Grove Invigoration, and this is just healing and dealing damage, will grant you increased maximum health, really good for your percent health absorption effects, and also Mastery, so your dots do more damage. You really can't go wrong. You get that right away. The next conduit that you are going to basically have to go after is Rolling Agony. This is the duration of Agony increased by 4 seconds. You need this. This is what smooths out Affliction Warlock. It gives you a ton of global cooldown, so you can get more dots out in less time. This is very important if you want to make sure that you're maximizing your damage and able to maybe even look for some fears, which when we get down to the next one, other than this little minor benefit, 5% maximum health every 3 seconds in Vulpin form, you can turn your fear into a stun. They have been making changes to where fear can withstand more damage, and there are conduits that will make your fear withstand even further damage. So if you want to just spam fear mobs or spam fear players while they're fully dotted and laugh at them while they die miserably and can't do anything, then this is the rotten wither time to play an Affliction Warlock. And that's why this finesse conduit was easy luck, and for me, didn't have to think about it too much. Next one is endurance. This is defense. Drain life heals for 44% of the amount drained over 9.4 seconds. With this conduit, you can utilize just drain life to, as a single target, heal to save yourself. But with Soul Rot and your AoE drain life, you could synergize these two and get massive recovery. You could almost think of Soul Rot as either offense or defense, which is nice in terms of playstyle if you want to have more choice, right? And finally, in the last potency conduit slot, I've decided to go for a focused malignancy. I actually said that right. I'm happy with myself. Malefic Rapture deals 15% increased damage to targets suffering from unstable affliction. And again, Malefic Rapture is that new soul shard spender that's going to be doing massive damage. So buffing the Malefic Rapture damage, if you're free casting, you are absolutely going to shred. And then as a bonus, you'll get Nia's Tool's Poison, which whenever you interrupt, you apply an additional dot. More dots. Now, what's interesting about the soul binds for Night Fae and why, surprisingly, it goes so well with a Warlock for some reason. If you go after Dreamweaver, which won't be unlocked for some time on live, and I can't show you, but you'll be getting a cheat death effect, which is something Warlocks really never had aside from Soul Stones. So you get a Soul Stone. This works in all content. So nice additional benefit there. Turn into a seed when you die, just like with the Night Fae, and you'll resurrect if the seed doesn't die. Additionally, you will be getting things like when you root, stun, or incapacitate, you will be reducing movement speed by 90%. More importantly, towards the final tier, Soul Rot puts flowers at your feet for 10 seconds. That increases your haste by 12%. So you can get massive haste, cheat death effect. So if you knew a team was going to focus fire you, you could go after this, squeeze in that Soul Rot, get some massive extra burst, get the cheat death benefit. There's a lot more playstyle differences between these soul binds, which is what makes Night Fae so much more creative. Nia's just pretty straightforward. It's going to be giving you more damage. If you're good at landing interrupts, you'll get even more. Dreamweaver focuses on defense, but additionally grants you a ton of haste as well. And then Korain is going to focus more on providing you damage at targets above 75% health, which is really good as a Warlock. Every trash pull, you're doing massive damage for the first 25% of each mob's health, and you get healing. So your drain life is going to heal you more when you're below 35% health. So you actually get to double dip into both effects of the Wild Hunt, specifically with Korain. And then towards the final tier, you have a little bit of a choice to go left or right. You can go left and get potency for more damage and face your foes, which is just a little bit more damage reduction whenever targets are facing you. This would be my recommendation. But you could also try out hold the line after standing still for 5 seconds. You take 15% less physical damage. Main reason I don't opt for this is that the potency conduits for Affliction Warlock are really good. So dropping one to go after this, and then this is PvP focused where you're actually getting attacked. If you're getting attacked in PvE, your tank is not playing properly, right? So this would be more or less a PvP choice. Not many classes actually do physical damage, so it can be misleading to go after something like this. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 specializations in the game that actually do almost 100% physical damage, and they're not often popular. So mind you, maybe a marksmanship hunter one tapping you from stealth will do 15% less damage. So maybe an anti-marksman, anti-rogue build. The point being that Night Fae have a lot of choice. Ran you down my standard build if you want to rewind and check that out again, and you'll have some creativity to go with. You'll have an experience that Warlock has never really had when going Night Fae, not just because they're engaging with fairies, but because you'll be able to blink around and be able to AoE drain life and get access to different schools of magic. Night Fae are really cool, really fun, and again, in performance, I think it's only going to be a few percent difference in PvE. So for me, the fun factor was really a big deal in my selection. As far as legendaries go, I think when it comes to PvP and maybe the game in general, Sacrilesh's Dark Strike is kind of the one every Warlock is drooling over. Corruption damage is increased by 15%, and any target affected by corruption also has their movement speed reduced by 50%. Can't go wrong. More dot damage, and then you can spend less time using things like Curse of Exhaustion because your corruption does damage and slows the target. So this one in particular was catching my eye. It would be the legendary that I would want to go after. There were some other potential contenders, like the Pillars of the Dark Portal. Demonic Gateway is now instant cast, which means you can maneuver it around at will whenever you need to. And your first use of it does not trigger a cooldown. In addition, Nether Energy lashes enemies you pass through, knocking them away. The knocking away is, I mean, in a BG, right? You could set up a Demonic Gateway in the middle of Eye of the Storm, gate through the middle of it, and knock everybody off the side. That could be hilarious. that could be hilarious. In competitive arena, the knockback's probably not going to matter too much. The main advantage is that you can use Demonic Gateway twice. You blink and fox, you're gating back and forth. You've got portal back baseline. You got dot duration increased. You're rotting everybody down. You've got creative choice. You've got a much more engaging rotation as opposed to just spamming that stacking UA. I mean, Affliction Warlock's in such a good place when it comes to Shadowlands that, I mean, I feel like I have to play it, and I want to play so many things. It's so hard to decide. Maybe so I'm hoping that I'm selling you here on the Affliction Warlock if you're trying to make a choice for it and you're worried at all with how it's looking in the game. I think in the whole encompassing factor at PvE, PvP, it is a lot of fun. A lot of the stuff returned to it and some of the new stuff integrated into it has worked out very well. And I'm excited to see Affliction Warlock play out for Shadowlands. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave it with a thumbs up. Comment down below with your thoughts about Affliction Warlock and some other classes that you're looking to main. I love seeing the comments down below. Again, this channel is meant as a resource to help educate everybody so that we can make the correct choice when it comes to our gameplay in Shadowlands, because there's a lot of choices you got to make. A lot of meaningful, impactful choices you got to make. You don't want to make the wrong one here. So in my mind, Affliction Warlock is pretty much a go. If you want to check out my other videos, if you're interested in other specializations, I will have them linked above here. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, it's absolutely free. You just hit the little subscribe button here in the top right, other direction, and you'll just be notified when my videos are live, and I upload a lot. So if you want to stay in the know and in the now of World of Warcraft and everything going on with the raid just coming out, there might be some updates coming. You don't want to miss them. I'll bring them to you in real time. Thank you once again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.